Hi there, I'm Becky Hammond and welcome to Isogo TV, where we are using StrengthsFinder to fuel the marriage connection that we need, the parenting grace that we crave, and the workflow and energy that comes from a healthy home. You have joined us for episode 49, and we are right in the middle of our series about balance, about the rhythm of life that we can create as we intentionally aim and use our strengths to help us get there. In this series, I have been referencing a free PDF download that is our balance checklist and tips. So you can find that over at isogostrong.com/ITV balance. So be sure to check that out and follow along if you don't have that already. And in the meantime, let's just dive right into episode 49. In episode 48, last episode, we got an idea for what feels off in our daily rhythms. And today, we're going to jump right into a practical strategy for determining what are the most energizing and the most draining parts of our current rhythm. And we'll begin to get a handle on our most wildly important priorities. So once you see your energy and your drains right in front of you, the search for your rhythm can become much more clear. We're going for a kind of a practical kind of start. We're going to start off here by making a list of the activities of our everyday work, our everyday life. And this could really take you 10 minutes, or you could probably spend all week on it. I want you to write down all the activities that you do on a daily and a weekly basis. Those things that make up the either frenetic pace or rhythm of your life. Everything. I'm talking making dinner, doing laundry, specific projects at work, kids' activities, chauffeuring, social media time, TV time, kids' bedtime routine, homework, quick email checks here and there, dinner conversations, connecting with friends, date nights. You know, you're getting the idea. Everything that you might include into the frenzy of your own life. And it might take carrying around a small notebook or maybe jotting it down in the notes of your phone. And that once you have a good list, then let's walk through what to do next with that list. Once you have this list, you read through it critically and draw a star by each item that is energizing to you. And then draw some other sort of mark, like a dark dot, next to those things that are draining to you. So let's just say that this little flip chart here is my list of activities. So I'm going to star and dot. So I wrote down a few things. This is not actually everything that I do. As you might imagine, your list is much longer, but there are some of these essential things in here. So I'm going to write a star next to those things that are energizing to me, and a little dot next to those things that are not so much. So for me, paying bills, not so much. Planning meals, not really. Maybe it's a little neutral. Making meals, love that. Doing laundry, no thank you. Writing a chapter for my book, love, double star almost. Writing blog posts, love that too, very similar. Planning for courses, it's kind of a neutral thing. Well, I do actually really like it. Connecting in social media, I love that. It kind of feeds my connectedness and my belief there. Prepping videos, don't like that. Working out, love that. Okay, so this list, it should be much longer. But now I've starred the activities that are energizing to me, and I've kind of given a little other dot next to those ones that are draining to me. And that's what you can do with your list as well. So then, second step, you read back through the list again, and you want to circle the top 6 things, let's say, that feel essential to you. And there's a lot of things that you have to do on this list, but what are those things that if you don't do them, life will fall apart, or maybe you will fall apart? And some of these actually might be things that are starred, and some might have a dot. It doesn't really matter. It's just what are those things that are essential? So for example, paying bills. Although I do not like to do this, it is definitely something that is essential in our life, right? Maybe I would say that making meals is essential. Planning meals, I don't know, maybe someone else could do that, or I could find tips somewhere. Writing a book, not essential, even though I love it. Writing blog posts kind of is essential because that's how we keep up with each other, and that's how we continue to make sure that we have resources to fuel the life-changing stories in our lives through our strengths. Planning for connecting in social media, not necessarily essential. Working out, for me, that is a huge essential. So if I had a longer list here, I would circle the top 6 things. And some of you might find that it might be a little bit easier to do this if you separate out your work tasks and your home tasks. You can do that. But if you can stand it, try to keep the list together, because you're creating a rhythm of your work and your family together. There is no separation to this. That's part of what figuring out balance and rhythm is all about. Your work and your family together. And it can be hard to just pick those 6 essential things, but try to do it. Try not to expand that number too much. And then as you do that, you got to go back and ask yourself some questions. As you stand back and you look at your list and the way that you've marked it up, do you see any patterns emerge? And then what, if removed, would make everything crumble? How about if it's removed, you would not miss it at all? There's a lot of those things in our lives that we fill our time with, that really, if we remove them, we wouldn't miss them at all. What seems to be a part of the daily whirlwind of just making life happen? So it's like you kind of have to do it, but you don't necessarily like it. And it's not absolutely essential, but there are things that just kind of are part of moving things forward in life. Which of these things, if any of them, could really be eliminated? And then let's go back to our strengths. Which of these, as you look at your list and the way that you've marked it up, which of these things which of these energizing or essential things connect to your strengths? I think you'll find that a lot of them do, the things that are energizing to you, and hopefully the things that are essential as well. But that's not always the case. Which of the draining or the non-essential items clash with your strengths? Do you see your strengths really being starved in those things that are draining for you? How about anything else? Do you notice any other patterns or connections between how you've made your list and marked up your list and who you are through your strengths? And when you start to have answers to these questions, then you start to have a better sense as to where the imbalance is coming into play. We're building on our insights and our ideas from last week. And what types of adjustments might make some sense. And we're going to talk more about adjustments, but just start to have your mind start to go there. You challenge yourself. What would happen if you did more of the essential and energizing things and found a way to outsource or eliminate the draining or the non-essential things? What would that do to the rhythm of your life? Would it get you closer to that ideal rhythm that we envisioned a few episodes ago? In my list, just last night, when I was creating the list again, I noticed that a lot of the things that I'm energized by that align with my strengths are things that are not really essential. So for example, like I don't have it on this list here, but one of the things that made my list was connecting with a friend over coffee. But how much more fulfilled would I feel if I really allowed time to do that? It kind of just gets sucked out of the space of some of the other things that, maybe are essential, but maybe aren't in my life. And maybe are other things that are draining that I could eliminate. And those types of things, for me, this connection with a friend over coffee, it fulfills the needs of my connectedness and my belief strengths, maybe even my developer strength a little bit. And so the challenge to myself would be, what adjustment can I make to allow this to become a part of my rhythm? If I realize that this is going to be peace-giving and filling to the soul versus draining. For the VP that I referenced last week, the chaos that she felt in her life, kind of the draining sense, it really meant some big changes for her in her role at home and her role at work. Like, for example, she's starting a new job and she hired part-time help for the house. So, she made some pretty major adjustments to help get back to that ideal rhythm in her life. But on the other hand, the thoughts and the insights might just be small, little tweaks that you can do, that you can make in your work or your life to get closer to that ideal rhythm. So that's what your challenge is for this week. Write down all of your daily, weekly activities and start to sort them into the things that drain you and the things that energize you and those things that you can't do without. And then see what patterns emerge. And for even more insight, if you're married, see if your spouse will do the same thing. To get his or her perspective on what balance might look like for your entire unit when you bring those things that are energizing and draining and essential for both of you. What does that look like for you as a team and you as a family? And once you've done this, once you've made this list and really thought through the patterns that are generated through your strengths and the things that energize and drain you in your own daily activities, you'll have the foundation for a beautiful list of priorities in your life. And in the meantime, I hope that you use this moment in time to have some productive thoughts about what is most energizing and what is most draining to you and your strengths, and how that affects the rhythm and the balance in your life. Thank you for choosing to take the time, the few minutes to join in today on Isogo TV. I hope that something that we talked about in our balance series today resonated with you. And if it did, or if you even have a question about something, I would love to hear from you, and I know that the rest of the community would love to hear from you over at our Facebook group, or you can reach us at Isogo Strong over on Instagram. I would also love for you to help me get this word about living a life through strength out to the rest of the world. You can do that in one of two ways. One, just by sharing it with your own friends on Facebook, or by rating and reviewing this podcast over on iTunes. See you next time on Isogo TV.